Well, finally happened. Can't say I'm surprised. Hey guys, welcome back to another Slightly Rednecked video. Again, my name's Chris, and if you're not familiar with this channel, I help you to produce your own meat, eggs, and vegetables from your backyard, your balcony, your deck, your garage, or even a spare room in your house if that's the way you want to do it. It's actually time for me to go ahead and get these guys, these grow outs here, moved into their own cages, get them off the, or out of the cage with mom. They're well past weaning, and it's actually past time to do that, but I mean, it's okay. They're not really overly crowded, but it's good to get them out of here, get them into these other cages, let them grow out. I'm going to separate them out into two groups. So there's 8 of them in here. I'll put 4 in one cage, 4 in the other. I'm not going to bother figuring out which ones are males, which ones are females, because I'll be processing them long before they get to the point of having to worry about them breeding or any of those kinds of things. So I want to get that done, but while I'm doing that, let me get the cage opened up here, tell you about something that happened here actually. Just yesterday, actually it goes into effect tonight. By the time this video airs, it will be in effect. We are on a statewide lockdown, statewide what's it called? Shelter in place or stay at home rule, statewide. First, the city I live in announced it citywide, and then the governor of Missouri came out and announced it statewide. So it goes 14 days, starting at midnight tonight. Again, by the time this video airs, it'll already be in place, and it goes for 14 days until April 20th. So it changes everything, doesn't it? Not really. I'll tell you why here in just a second. Let me get these guys moved. All right, well, that's done. That was actually pretty easy. I've talked about this before, but just in case you're new to the channel, you're new to rabbits or anything like that, these guys are right at about 6 weeks old, a little over, and that's about the right time to go ahead and move your rabbits, move them off and wean them off the mother. They'll start eating on their own well before that, but you don't really want to move them any earlier than that and get them completely weaned off earlier than that, because it can really kind of lead to some problems. They can get weaning enteritis if you try to move them too much earlier than 6 weeks old. And that's basically just a drastic diet change, and it causes diarrhea and things like that. It can be really severe for a rabbit. So you don't want to move them really any earlier than about 6 weeks old. But these guys are right at that age. They grow out a little bit slower than I'd like them to grow out. At 7 weeks old, I think they are roughly. They're a little bit on the small side, but that's okay. I'm not in a huge hurry. They're going to be just fine there for another, probably 4 weeks, something like that, before I go to process them. And they'll be plenty big enough at that point. Mom looks like she's happy to have them gone. She's usually a little bit grumpy when I get in there and start messing with her when she's got babies in the cage, but it didn't bother her at all this time. I was in there getting babies rabbits out of there. She didn't even budge. She just laid there and let me do it. Didn't bother her a bit. I think she's ready for a break. And she's going to get one. With summer coming on, this is the last breeding I'm going to do until fall comes on. So she'll get a good couple of months, 4 months off before she's bred again, has to worry about having babies again. Well, like I said, we got a ruling now that's come out that it is a shelter in place, is the way that the city called it. The state called it a stay-at-home order. So essentially what it says is that you should stay at home unless you're doing essential activities. And that's for the next 14 days, lockdown inside your house. It really doesn't change anything. Honestly, the restaurants around here have already closed down. They haven't closed down completely. They're just doing drive-through and delivery only or pickup only. You can't go in and dine in. It's been that way for over a week. The grocery stores are still open. That's not going to change because they're considered essential, so they're still going to be open. You can still go to the grocery store. The gas station's still going to be open. What else? Even liquor stores are still open. They're considered essential, I guess, so they're still open. Really, nothing's changed. It's been crazy here lately anyway. So, that's the same difference. I've been already working from home for the past couple of weeks, and I'll continue to work from home. But we have employees that are still going into the office. It's not going to change for them either. Really, all this ruling does, is gives the police the ability, if they get a complaint or somebody's having a party, something like that, they can go break it up. It gives them the authority to go break that up because it limits public gatherings of more than 10 people. You can't do that. You can't get in a public place, gather 10 people or more together at one time. They're doing their best to kind of stop the spread of the virus. And I've said all along, I think we're kind of overreacting to this, but I reserve the right to be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is necessary. I'm not knocking the government or any of those kinds of things for putting those, steps in place. I understand, they've got to be cautious about it. They want to stop the spread of this illness, this virus that's going around. So I get that. And, I'm not necessarily saying that they're making the wrong choice on this. I do find it interesting though. I went to the grocery store yesterday because, we got 14-day lockdown coming. I figured it was going to get pretty crazy. They opened up at 7 o'clock and we got there at about 7:15, got our shopping done early. Wasn't too bad. There were quite a few people in there. For the most part, everybody was kind of keeping their distance. The grocery stores are, still pretty bare, but they were unloading their shipment as we got there. So, we were standing by the meat aisle and they're bringing chicken out. Okay, I want one of those. Let me have one of those. There wasn't anything on the shelf. It was bare, but they're bringing it out. They didn't even get it on the shelves mostly. They're just handing it out to some of the people out there. There was a little bit left on the shelves when I left. So it could be a lot worse. It could honestly be a whole lot worse. But you do have to think ahead a little bit. You have to kind of prepare for these things. Like I said, the grocery stores are still going to be open. So you can still go shopping. You can still go to the gas station, still go to the bank, basically nothing's changing. It's the same as what it has been for the past couple of weeks and the precautions everybody's taking on their own. It just, I guess it gives, like I said, it gives the police a little bit more authority to come and break things up if they need to. I really haven't been doing anything anyway but going to the grocery store or the gas station, get gas or, go to the grocery store and get groceries. That's about all I've been doing, so it's not going to change for me. It's, I hope it's over sooner than later because it's a little tough. There's nothing, like last night, my wife and I sitting around, it's a Saturday night, and, we're sitting around with nothing to do thinking, it'd be nice to go out and, shoot a game of pool, catch a movie, go bowling, something. None of those places are open. You can't do that. So it is a little bit, it's going to drive you crazy. It's going to drive you a little bit bored, but I've been bored before. I grew up without the internet, so I can make it through that. It'll be okay. We'll make it through on the far side of it. But my wife's still got to go into work. She's an essential employee. She works for a pharmacy, so she's still got to go into work every day. Like I said, not much has changed. We start homeschooling our stepson. Not necessarily homeschooling. I shouldn't call it homeschooling because we're not doing the schooling. It's online school through the school district. He starts that tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. That's a little different, a little unique. But other than that, in many ways, life hadn't changed much. Just, a little bit less traffic out on the roads. Everybody kind of avoids you a little bit. You're not, not getting crowded in at grocery stores. One change that is going to be kind of neat or unique, I shouldn't say neat because it's not necessarily neat, it's unique, is now with this ruling, it did come down that grocery stores and things like that, they have to limit the amount of people inside the store to, I think it was 25% of what their fire code allowance would allow inside the store. So there is, like when we went to the grocery store yesterday, there was they had it all blocked off, like shopping carts lined up around the door where you had to come in one way only. It wasn't just open where you could just come in from all sides, and so it was like one line to get in the store. It wasn't limited as to how many people you could get in there. There wasn't that many people there at the time. But they're starting to limit now, so you'll have to wait in line outside the store before you can go in. And they just have to count how many people are going in the store. I don't know how many it's going to be, but that's going to be a little bit chaotic, a little bit crazy the next couple of days. Luckily, we bought enough groceries I think will last us for the next week and a half or so. And we'll see how it goes. But anyway, it's definitely kind of a scary time we're living in, unique time. I don't think there's been anything like this in my lifetime. I'm a little bit more worried about what the economic toil is going to be. It very well could throw us into a depression. You never know. Luckily, I'm not too worried about it. I shouldn't say worried. I don't worry about much of anything. I serve a big God. He'll see us through these things. But that's the concern, is the economic toil that it's going to take. But we're doing good. We've got plants planted for our garden. I got meat and eggs. I got everything but dairy basically, and bread. Don't have bread. I can make bread, but I don't honestly eat that much bread, so I'm not worried about that. We got everything we need, so we'll be okay if we need to. I've got a freezer full of deer meat, and we just went and bought some things to put some variety in our diet, so we don't have to worry about that thing. So, I'm not worried about it from that standpoint, but there's a lot of people out there that have lost their jobs, and I've talked about this before. They've either lost their jobs maybe temporarily, but still, going a month and a half or more without a paycheck is just devastating. And it would be devastating for me. Luckily, I'm in a field where I'm still able to work and still able to collect a paycheck. But if that were to change, it would be a different story altogether. So, praying for all you guys out there that are suffering through those things and dealing with that. Hopefully it gets better. I know, the restaurants here are open, but again, it's all delivery or pickup or, drive-through, that kind of stuff. You can't go in and sit down. And that's impacted them significantly. My cousin's a manager of one of the local restaurants here. It's not a chain store, it's a local restaurant. And I was talking to him yesterday about it. They're still getting some business. It's all order over the phone right now, but it's just barely enough to keep them open. It's just barely enough to make it worth them opening the store. So, if this thing doesn't end pretty quick, it could put a lot of businesses out of business. A lot of small restaurants, bars, those kinds of hometown things that you guys do on the weekends, everybody does on the weekends. I'm not saying I go hang out at the bars all weekend long, but you get what I'm saying. That it could really put a lot of those guys out of business if it maintains for very long. Just kind of hate to see that. Hopefully we make it through okay. I know there's stimulus coming. Kind of mixed on how I feel about that. I think it's probably in this situation a good thing. Generally, I'm against government stimulus. I'm against handouts and things like that from the government. I don't think it's really a good practice, but this is a unique situation. It's different than anything we've ever dealt with, and I think it's actually probably a good idea here. We'll just see how much of an impact it makes. Hopefully it comes out quick enough, and hopefully it sustains those that need it. It gets to the people that actually need it, and helps with those things. But we'll just have to wait and see. So a little bit of rambling today. It's just kind of neat. I shouldn't say neat. That's not really the word for it. It's just kind of weird. Going into lockdown starting tonight or tomorrow. But again, it's not really a big change. It's about the same thing we've been going through, so it's not that big of a difference. But anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble for a little bit, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and we will see you on the next one. As always, God bless.